Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, I've been thinking about different kind of seasonal things. And with the temperature dropping here in the Kingdom of the Moorlands recently, I thought it would be a great one to do on some things that I've been testing out for a while, working into this season, knowing full well it's going to get cold soon. So we're here today to look at some gloves. Now I've chosen, I think there's 5 with a wild card. So I prefer, I prefer them. So I generally tend to go for harder wearing, some of you might say, well yeah, okay, it's fair to say tactical style gloves. So we've got 5 gloves that are tactically inclined. They might identify tactically. How about that? So we'll have a look through these today. Now, I did say that there will be a wild card because there's maybe a genre type of glove that you really should be thinking about as well if you do like these style of gloves, but you know, we'll definitely get onto that. Now before I go on, I do have to say, so all of the gloves apart from the wild card have been sent to me from Military First. Military First are the UK's largest online dealer in military outdoor kind of gear. I've done a few pieces of content with them in the past. They're an absolutely amazing team. They're a stone's throw away from the Kingdom of the Moorlands in Manchester, and just really nice northern kind of people. So in fact, all of the gloves that you'll see, as I mentioned, apart from the wild card, I'll leave links in the description below so that you can see more from them from Military First. But yes, these were all sent to me free of charge, but they have, it's no sway on the content or, you know, my opinion on them. I was lucky enough that I was able to hand pick the gloves depending on, you know, different styles. So anyway, waffling a little bit, definitely check out Military First. I'll leave all of the links here, but for now let's turn the camera around and take a closer look at some gloves. Now my first set of gloves are the gloves that I've been wearing on the way here today because they're actually very comfortable whilst driving. These are the KinetixX X-Sirex gloves. Kinetix are a German company that have been making gloves, military, law enforcement style gloves for a long time, a really long time. Not like, oh, just a couple of decades. I'm talking of maybe, I don't know, century? I don't know. You know, you get the impression. They're a family-owned, family-run company that put a lot into the development of their gloves. So these are used by the German armed forces, German SWAT teams, and police, and you know, certainly all around the world. But they're more of a patrol-style glove, so they're a little bit more low-key as well. The palms on these are made with genuine leather. And on the back, there is a poly-style material on the back, which gives you the knuckle protection that you need, or at least should you need it. But the actual material itself it's quite thick. It's almost like a wetsuit kind of neoprene style material. So rather than having dedicated pads to protect your knuckles, it just uses that material as well. The cuff for these is under the hand, whether you prefer to have it on the top or below. These are underneath, and it's got a hook and loop closure. The hook and loop on this is that next level kind of hook and loop, you know, not the traditional one that's hooks and loops. It's that new stuff that really does seem to grip really well. And rather than going further down your wrist, as these are more of a patrol style, they just kind of cut here where your articulation is. One of the benefits of these is on the back they have cutouts for your watch. So if you need to check your watch and you're not having to pull your glove over that, you can do that with these. Now, one of the huge selling points, or certainly one of the things that Kinetix promote about their gloves, is the level of safety that you get with these. So things like abrasion, cutting, tears, punctures. these gloves themselves are either level 1 or level 2 for some of those, but they do have, I thought I'd kick the camera then for a second, they certainly have other ranges of gloves where the levels for those go higher to make sure that you can protect your hands a lot more. Now I will say, whatever they've done to the palm on this, it is super grippy. Being able to drive with these on the gear stick, when your hand's on the wheel, they are really good. And I also like the fact that these are just a little bit more low-key. So when I'm out and doing some shopping or even going for a walk, I think I had these on last weekend as well. They don't look like super tactical gloves, and not particularly expensive as well. I think these came in around about £30, which is probably roughly $30 or 30 euros, and yeah, really nice gloves. So these are the KinetixX X-Sirex. Now the next one on the list, these are the Pentagon Karia. I want to say Karia. I assume it's Karia. But again, so I think moving from the Kinetix to these, you can see that these definitely look a little bit more tactical. However, the advantage with these is that they keep the same colour throughout the glove. So on others where you'll have markings on there, or where you'll have pads on the knuckles and the palms as well, they're available in 4 or 5 different colours. I believe these are the olive versions of them. So depending on what you're using them for, if you wanted to just get a black pair, then you'll find that they look less tactical, even though they really are. Knuckle protection, you have knuckle protection on there. You also get it going down onto further down onto your fingers as well, which is great. And then where your if you can see on the knuckles there, really nice articulation. Through the hand, did I say? So that, yeah, these are genuine suede leather, and through the hand you also get additional reinforcements on here, and there is also foam padding inside on the pads. So if you're doing certainly something that you need to concern yourself with vibrations through to your hands, these do a very good job at being able to absorb a lot of that vibration. So if you're concerned about things like white finger for prolonged periods, then it does a good job at being able to absorb that. Through the thumbs you get additional reinforcements through the thumbs, just in case, again, that's an area that you do find gets a lot of wear and tear. You get additional support with those. And I do find, so the actual dexterity with these, I was really impressed with this. I've tried a few of Pentagon's products, and they're reasonably new to me, and the more I try of their products, the more I find that I need to try more of them, because they always really impress me. The price on these, they're not particularly expensive as well. They come in at around about £25, which again is roughly, they're all very close nowadays, aren't they? So it's probably roughly about €25, $25. But yeah, very impressive. I think when I compare these to other manufacturers like Mechanix, everybody thinks of Mechanix for these style gloves. They're definitely comparable, especially when you're comparing them in price as well. Now, these do come down a little bit further on your wrist, so you'll find that it will push your watch back if you wear a watch. But it's not too far up. They don't go particularly far past your articulation. Hook and loop closures, and with this one the cuff is on the top as far as the closure is concerned, but around here you have a lot of really nice elastic to make sure that you can over tighten them, and it actually just sucks them onto your hand, so it keeps a very good hand position. I don't know enough about gloves or glove language, but when they're on, you certainly find with some gloves they tend to slip or warp in your hand, but it keeps everything in the position with the elastic on the top. But yeah, they are the Pentagon Karia. Next on the list we have, and I kind of touched on these, or at least the manufacturer on these with the Pentagon ones, but everybody's favourite Mechanix gloves. Mechanix gloves started out being gloves for mechanics, but they were incredibly quickly adopted by the military, by law enforcement, by just people that want to get outside and have some decent gloves that will last. And the ones that we have here, these are the FastFit versions. So rather than having a closure on the top that uses hook and loop, the FastFit ones have really nice elastic that goes around there, and it does what it says on the tin. You put them on, pull them down, and yeah, they're just on. They're very simple gloves as well. Now on the palms, you don't have as much protection as far as vibration or anything like that, but I don't think these are the type of gloves for that. The FastFit really are your outdoors kind of gloves. You know, you'll have these, you may be on a little carabiner, they'll be on your bag, you need to do some firework, you need to do something in camp or something like that. These really are perfect for that. But if you did need to do something maybe a little bit more kind of hardcore, then you do get some protection through your knuckles and certainly down through your fingers as well. But the protection is similar to the ones that we saw on the KinetixX ones. So on the inside here, the material is more like a neoprene style material on the back. I don't think it actually is. I think it's more of a polyester, and then there's some sponge in between layers of polyester. But it certainly makes sure that for light scrapes and light hits, they'll take some of that away from your knuckles. They're also, they're just very comfortable gloves. But I will say, more so with these than any of the other gloves that I've tried so far. When your finger is in there, you know when you can feel the seam where it's been stitched. You just kind of feel it a little bit more at the end of your fingers. I'm sure after a while, I've had these now for a couple of months and just kind of doing day-to-day things with them. I have noticed that the material in there has just got a little bit more softer, and it kind of knows where my fingers are, and it's either moving out of the way or it's getting kind of pushed in. But I definitely did find when I first put these on that, just as I say, the seams in the end, you certainly do feel them on the inside of your fingers. But these Mechanix FastFit gloves, they come in a trillion different colours. And yeah, these are really nice as well. I think the value in these, as you kind of get from the fact that they are the FastFit ones, is they're just, you just pull them on, pull them off, do whatever it is that you need to do, put them back in your bag. And they also look a little bit more low-key as well. If you get them in black, then yeah, they just kind of look like black outdoors kind of gloves. I was surprised though with these, so rather than having genuine leather palms on them, they use a synthetic leather. It feels like leather. It doesn't smell like leather, but they're still reasonably tough, and yeah, the Mechanix FastFit are a great addition. Now, you can't talk about tough gloves without talking about the Mechanix M-Pact gloves. These have been adopted by the military, by law enforcement, by just so many different organisations and groups around the world, because they're just so tough. You really can't talk about these style gloves without talking about these. Obviously, I own a pair. I have owned these now for a good couple of years, and these are still the same pair that I've owned for a couple of years now. I use these whenever I'm skirmishing with airsoft, and these have been my go-to gloves for a long time. Also, again, surprised to find out that it's not real leather on the palms. So this uses Mechanix synthetic leather, but you have some really nice palm reinforcements here with some padding in there. Again, if you're concerned about white finger through vibrations for quite some time, then that will certainly help with that. Just before, on the pads of your palms there as well, you have some additional reinforcement to make sure that, because that's an area, especially when you're working and doing a lot of sort of stuff that you can get a lot of wear on. And then towards the end of your fingers, you're also getting some nice grippy kind of material on there as well, just in case, again, there are certain things that you need to be able to do to that wasn't very nice, have again. So you've got the manual dexterity to be able to do whatever it is. Now, as far as that dexterity comes in on the front is concerned, so you have these quite large padded TPU rubbery style lines, so it will cross your knuckle, and then your 3 lower fingers, it will then come down those. It doesn't come down your main index finger, mainly because you need to have as much dexterity on that as possible, but certainly if you're holding something from underneath, I don't know what you might be holding from underneath that you would have your hands like this, but with these being the fingers on the underside, if falling forward or hitting against things or being thrown forward, it gives you ample protection on there. A lot of reinforcement through the L, through here, through your thumb as well. Very comfortable gloves, very comfortable. Now, for the cuffs on these, it is a lower cuff rather than for a top cuff, and they are just past the articulation point on here again, so if you're wearing a watch, it will just push your watch down a little bit, or you'll need to fish it out if needs be as well. One thing I did find when I first got these is I don't know whether there is some sort of coating that they've put on these, but I did find at first when I was getting wet, when I was getting dirt on these, they almost felt a little soapy. It must have been some sort of DWR coating or whatever it was, but I found after just getting dirty with my hands with these for a while, that kind of soapiness has come off, and instead you get actually a really nice kind of lock in there. There isn't similar to the Kinetix where you have almost like a tacky feel to them, but the suede effect that you get from the synthetic leather allows you to have a good purchase on things as well. Now, I certainly know that there are a few different versions of the M-Pact gloves. I believe these are the version 2, but there is a version 3 as well, and a lot of it changes around what protection you get on your knuckles, so there's quite a few different options out there depending on the style of glove that you prefer and how you think that they're going to be used. They will also come in a trillion different colours. Mechanix really have hit the nail on the head when it comes to all of the different colours, but yeah, a lot of options for these. Now, I'm keeping these just off camera for a bit because these really do make me feel like Indiana Jones when I've got them on, and these are the Helikon lumber gloves. Such a simple kind of old-fashioned glove. These are the gloves that I guarantee your granddad, maybe not the Helikon ones, but these are the gloves that your granddad had when he went out to chop lumber and, you know, did all the things that he needed to do. You see these in the back pockets of people kind of hanging out, but just a very classy old school style glove. These are completely made from genuine cowhide. Very tough, but also, although you know there's no sort of padding or anything like that in here, but because the cowhide is reasonably thick on these, you still get quite a bit of protection across your knuckles. Possibly the most low-key out of all of the ones that we've looked at today. They're certainly not military or tactically inspired, but they just have that really nice classic old school look and feel to them. They seem to, I mean, I'm sure they put some thought into it, but it's almost as though they've just found some turn of the century glove pattern and thought, yeah, we'll use that. You know, it's not changed in a century. Why would people's hands change? Across the back there is some elastic on there, so when you take them off, they certainly don't have a cuff closure or anything like that, but instead what the elastic does is just give you a little bit of purchase, or it pulls it together to make sure it pulls round. And then on the inside of the cuff there is a small hole in here, so if you are out foraging or you're out bushcrafting or you're doing something like that and you just want to use these as gloves to do that kind of work. You can easily pass a carabiner through each of those, clip it onto your bag, clip it onto your hammock, clip it onto whatever it is that you need this for, and then yeah, just take them off and do what you need to. And I think in this environment as well, out here in the woods, just kind of being out and about, they really do feel at home in this environment, especially with the colours that we've got at this time of year as well. But yeah, this is it's really nice, kind of rich oxblood kind of colour. I love these. These feel really nice. You get that creak in the leather when you do things, and they're really nice gloves. These aren't particularly expensive as well. I think these come at roughly about £45, which again, you know, it's roughly $45, roughly kind of 40 euros. But Helikon definitely have knocked it out of the park with these. And now it's wild card time. So imagine another industry or lifestyle that had a type of glove that was tough across the knuckles, had some really nice padding through the palm of your hand. Oh, I nearly showed you them for a second. And for your pistol grip finger, you needed really good dexterity there, but also you needed some sort of grip at the end of those so that you could hold on to things. What sort of industry would do that? That's right, cycling. So these are the Endura Hummvee gloves, and they are built like a Hummvee. Palms on these, I couldn't find it actually, so they call this their palmistry palm. They've not really said whether they are leather or not, so I'm probably going to guess and say that they are a synthetic leather, but it is very tough. It's very kind of grippy as well. Now in the palms you have this really nice, if I bring that on there, you have this really nice padding. So this is a gel padding, which gives you, it gives your palm extra little bit of support while it's being pressed onto something, but through the fingers here as well. Hopefully if you can see, so there are some little rubbery bits on there, so you get really nice kind of retention on things, but they also use the same rubbery parts here on the outside of the padding, which again, so as I press my hands together and pull them apart, my fingers are on the palm bit, and yeah, you get some really nice traction there. Nice ventilation through the hands, support through the L here, and additional padding on the inside. A couple of these I maybe haven't mentioned, but you also get a little terry toweling on there, just in case you got some, some little scrapings that you need to get off. Protection across the knuckles on these are exceptional, and as well. So I'm closing my knuckles there. You can see for manual dexterity, you also have some pleating in there as well. These are really nice gloves. When I compare these against the M-Pacts, when I compare these against the KinetixX, you would assume that they are kind of outdoor, tactical, military style gloves. But they're not. These are designed for downhill mountain biking, for enduro biking, and there's some absolutely amazing manufacturers out there. Look for companies like Fox Racing, look for companies like Troily Designs and Alpine Star, who are all on top of their game. Some of them a little bit garish, maybe, but that's that kind of industry. But there are certainly ones out there like this that I will be skirmishing with in the future. I'm certainly not going to have to worry about people seeing my hands, and hopefully they will be able to blend in. So these are my wild card. As I say, these are the Endura Hummvee Plus. Now there is an Endura Hummvee. I think with the Endura Hummvee there are more of a lighter version, so you don't get the additional padding that you get here on the palm. I think there's another small change to them, but other than that, they're very similar. But these are the Endura Hummvee Plus gloves, and I think these are the second version. There may have been a previous version. As far as the cuffs on these, the cuff is on the underside, and I have to say, out of them all, these are the gloves that just swell and fit my hands most perfectly. All of the gloves that you've seen today, so I have medium to large size hands. All of the gloves that you've seen today are large. And I think possibly the other ones that I'd say don't fit as well, it's not necessarily they don't fit as well, I might just be slightly in between sizes. They're either just slightly too large. So with these, it's just pure luck that these fit my hands the best. But yes, if you're not looking for tactical gloves around cycling gloves, then you really should be, because there's actually some amazing gloves out there. But yes, these are the Endura Hummvee Plus gloves. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this. As I say, I like to get out when I'm out in the woods like this, especially in the winter. I generally take some gloves with me just doing bits and bobs. When I'm out skirmishing, doing airsoft, I always make sure that I've got gloves with me, just because nobody wants to get hit on your knuckle by a 6mm BB. That really hurts. But also outside of that other stuff as well, I generally gravitate to these style gloves. They're just a lot more hard wearing, but there's definitely some options out there if you don't want to look full Oscar Mike buddy military tactical. There are some options out there that are a little bit more low key, so that you get the advantages of those gloves and not the kind of people thinking, who's this, Walter Mitty? But anyway, so hope you've enjoyed today. I will leave a link for all of the gloves below. Thank you again to the amazing team at Military First for sending the first 5 gloves that we saw today are all from Military First. As these are cycling gloves, they don't sell them, but I'll also leave some links below so that you can find some more from these. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Just used in so many different places. They're also very good value. Oh, forgot to, shit. Now, you generally can't talk about outdoors, tough, military kind of tactical style gloves without talking about, what are they? They're the Mechanix. Why am I being a dick? Why are you being a dick? Don't be a dick. I absolutely love the woods this time of year. So there's 3 or 4 little robin redbreasts. One of my favouriteest little birds. They're so brave and just inquisitive. There's one just here. Keeps running in and out of the bushes and just, having a look. Getting closer each time. Absolutely beautiful little birds. I love this time of year when the redbreasts and the robins are out. They're just circling me. It's over here in the bush. No, you probably can't see it, but